Hi vinyl community, it's Mike here, and today I'm going to jump on a thread that's going around the VC at the moment. I've seen a couple of people who've jumped on it. One of them is Andy Fuld and the other one is Vinyl Richie. And the thread itself is 10 bands from my hometown. Show 10 artists from your hometown basically. And this was originated by a guy up in Saskatchewan in Canada, and his channel is called Racer Records, and I think he's called Joe. He hasn't got a lot of subs at the moment, so it'd be nice if you could go over there and watch his video and give him a sub. I'll leave a link in the description. So, as I say, it's quite simple. All you have to do is show 10 bands from your hometown. So, I'm really lucky because, you know, you may think Manchester is the music capital of the United Kingdom, and you'd be wrong. You could think it's Liverpool, and you'd be wrong. You might think it's London, you'd be wrong. You might think it's Birmingham, you'd be wrong. Because, of course, as everybody knows, the music capital of the United Kingdom is undoubtedly Leeds in West Yorkshire, and that's where I'm from. So I'll try and convince you that that statement is correct by showing you some bands. So first up, it's Girls That Are Best, and this is their album Pleasure, and it's from 1981, I believe. Yes, 1981. They were formed in Leeds in 1979, and they originally called the Butterflies, and they changed their name before they released their first and only album. This is an original. It comes with a little pleasure bag in here, and what you get is a stencil to cut out so you can put their logo on the local walls and wherever you want to. Couple of postcards and a sticker, I believe. Yes, and a sticker for pleasure. So, you know, they weren't around for very long. I think they recorded only for a couple of years, and this being their only album, title track Pleasure, really good. Fast Boyfriends is probably a track that you may have heard of. It was a single for them, and then there's Heaven and China Blue, also reasonably sort of good hits for them. So that's the first one, Girls That Are Best. Next off, possibly my favourite Leeds band, or certainly up there in the top three, and this is Gang of Four, and this is their third album, Songs of the Fray. And Gang of Four were formed in 1976. I'm sure you all know Gang of Four. They're a post-punk band. So there's Andy Gill, John King, Hugo Burnham, and on this album, on the bass was Sarah Lee. And it's their third album from 1982. And again, you know, if I was to choose my favourite Gang of Four album, it would either be this one or the debut, Entertainment. I mean, this has got Call Me Up on it, and I Love a Man in Uniform, which again, two tracks that I think that people will know. But I mean, it's an absolutely stonking album from start to finish. So it's a brilliant bit of post-punk from Leeds, and that's Gang of Four. Right, third up, this is a band that you may not have heard of. They're a kind of an alternative rock, sort of post-rock band, and they're called I Like Trains, and this is their album from 2020, and it's called Compromat. It's not a great deal to look at there. It's black cover with some line drawings, and I've just dropped it on the floor. Yeah, so it came with a signed photograph of the band. So these guys, will say, they're sort of very sort of alternate. Difficult to describe them really, but yeah, post rock, I suppose, is the title that you would give these guys. And this is their fifth full length album. So that's I Like Trains. fourth band from Leeds, and we're going right back to 1971 for this album. This is a band that were formed in 1968. Jan Dukes de Grey, and this is an absolutely brilliant sort of folk-like classic. It's Mice and Rats in the Loft, and this is a fairly recent sort of reissue. I got this copy on Amazon not so long ago, after Rob Ison tipped me off that they were going very cheaply. So I picked this up, I think, for less than a tenner. So I was really pleased with that. It's very difficult to get an original. Hardly ever see them around the record fairs. And when you do, they tend to be quite expensive if they're in good nick. So there's only 3 tracks on here. So side 1 is a single track called Song Symphonica, and then you've got side 2, Call of the Wild, and Mice and the Rats in the Loft. And that's Jan Dukes de Grey from 1971. Next up, this guy who's a DJ in Chapeltown, Leeds, and he goes by the name DJ Easy sometimes, but also he's known as Nightmares on Wax, and the band that he fronts occasionally is also called Nightmares on Wax, and this is their album from 1995. It's called Smoker's Delight. Absolutely brilliant bit of trip hop, really, and it managed to get into the top 50 of a chart of best trip hop albums. I think it was number 15, and yeah, it's absolutely marvelous, and I love the artwork. So that's Nightmares on Wax. So that's we're halfway through. That's number 5. And now, how about a bit of shoegaze? So here we go. Pale Saints. They were formed in Leeds in 1987, I believe. This album is from 1992, and it's called In Ribbons. This is actually a quite nice reissue that I picked up recently, and it's got a second album of various sort of alternate takes and a bit of stuff with a brass band music and shoegaze, which is quite good. It's quite interesting stuff. So that's the Pale Saints, if you like a bit of shoegaze. Right, a band that I think you would have heard of, and this is Scritti Politti, and this is Songs to Remember. This is their debut album, and that's from 1982. And Scritti Politti were formed at Leeds Polytechnic, I believe, or one of the colleges in Leeds, by Green Gartside in 1977. So this is very much sort of new wave synth pop, maybe sort of blue-eyed soul, I suppose. And it's an absolutely lovely album. You don't really see it very often shown on the VC. So we kick off with Asylums in Jerusalem. Then there's Lions After Slumber is one of their most famous tracks, I suppose. Then what have we got here? Yeah, Rockabye Blue, again, a track that you may have heard. And then it finishes on side 2 with probably the most famous track of all, which was Sweetest Girl. So that's Green Gartside, Scritti Politti, and Songs to Remember. Right, another famous band from Leeds. Yeah, these guys were formed, I think, they met at Leeds Polytechnic, and it's Soft Cell, and of course it's Mark Almond and David Ball, and they all formed in 1978, and this is their debut album, Non-Stop Erotic Cabaret, which came out in 1981. So again, there's some really big tracks on here. I mean, Tainted Love was a worldwide hit, I believe, and Say Hello, Wave Goodbye, Bedsitter, and Secret Life, probably the biggest tracks on here. So that's the brilliant Soft Cell from 1981 and Non-Stop Erotic Cabaret. Right, just 2 bands to go. And this next band, indie rock, and they were formed in 1985, and it's The Wedding Present. And this is their album, George Best, and released in 1987. So despite coming from Leeds, they've got a picture of a Manchester United footballer on the front, but George Best was one of the all-time greats. So you know, tracks on here. Everyone thinks he looks daft. What did your last servant die of? So that they tend to have these sort of broadly sort of comical titles to their various songs. Give My Love to Kevin. Anyone can make a mistake, and you can't moan, can you? So this is The Wedding Present. They're formed by David Gedge, and he is the one constant member of Wedding Present who are, you know, still going to this day, and an absolutely brilliant band. So there you go. That's George Best from 1987. Right, 1 band to go, but I'm going to show you 3 bands. So this band is Yarda, and they were formed by James Smith, Ryan Needham, Sam Shipstone, and Jay Russell in 2019. And Ryan Needham and James Smith actually sort of met each other when the 2 respective bands they were in did a split single together. So James was in Postwar Glamour Girls, and this album's called Swan Songs. And Ryan was in Menace Beach, and this is probably their best album, Lemon Memory. But although these bands are pretty good, Yarda, I think, surpass anything that those 2 bands have done. So far, there's just been one album from them, and this is The Overload. I've shown this before. This is a Jumbo Records in Leeds special edition, and yeah, it's really good. They've got a new album coming out in a month or 2, so I suggest you get that. And I'll show you this as well. This is a single in on Record Store Day last year. Yarda released a single, and it's got on one side they've got their track 100% Endurance, and they've got Elton John featuring on it. And on the other side, they do their cover of Elton John's Tiny Dancer. So, you know, being a Leeds lad, James was in Jumbo Records on Record Store Day last year, and he was signing the singles. So I got mine signed, but instead of signing it, James, what he actually wrote on the cover is to Mike, love with all my heart from Elton John. So I can say I've got a single signed by Elton John, even though I haven't. So there you go. That's my 10 bands from Leeds. Enjoyed doing this, and as I say, go over to Joe's channel, Racer Records. As I say, I'll leave a link in the description, and have a look at the stuff he showed. I mean, I'd only heard of I think a couple of the people he mentioned, and one of those was Joni Mitchell. But yeah, it's really worth having a look. And then you know, Vinyl Richie did a really good one from California, from Berkeley. Sorry, Bakersfield, I think it was. Yeah, Bakersfield, California. And then Andy Ford did sort of an amalgam of I think of Birmingham and Basingstoke and Reading and various places that he's lived over the years, and that's really worth having a look as well. So until next time, I'll see you. Bye bye.